Canelo versus Golovkin 3 is on. They've just finished a weigh-in at the MTN Grand. Let's talk about it here on BWTM Sports. Don't go anywhere. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports. If you're new and the first time watching this, please hit the like button, consider smashing the subscribe button, and leave a comment in the comment section. And for those of you who've been dedicated and regulars, welcome back. Welcome back. Really appreciate you. So now, let's talk about this one, Golovkin versus Canelo 3. Well, as you know, with this channel, BWTM Sports, we are with a bit of a history with Golovkin. Mainly his trainer, then Abel Sanchez. So before every Golovkin fight, we would get Abel Sanchez in the house, and he will tell us the stories of what Golovkin would do to sparring partners, how he'd be knocking them out in sparring, he'd be knocking out heavyweights in sparring, the punching power of Golovkin. It was almost legendary interviews I'd be doing with Abel Sanchez, telling me about the great things of gennady Golovkin, or Triple G. And I was fortunate to be at the press conference to actually see Triple G in person. A really nice guy. It was actually quite a good press conference actually. So I got to meet Triple G, Triple G, Kell Brook, Michael Buffer, and Eddie Hearn. So that was quite a press conference. But yeah, and Mauricio Suleiman as well. So jam-packed times. Everybody knows that my thoughts on Triple G throughout the years have been he could have fought better opposition earlier in his career. I always felt that his punching power was overrated because when you look at the resume and the guys he's actually knocked out, and by the way, before people jump and start thinking I'm trying to have a go at gennady Golovkin here, there's a twist to this video. So people would know me that because I've been fortunate to see guys who punch harder than Golovkin, i.e. Julian Jackson. If you don't know who Julian the Hawk Jackson is, I suggest you get on YouTube and watch him. Julius Jackson, the Jackson family from the Virgin Islands shout out to the Jacksons, by the way. Julian Jackson, a phenomenal one-punch knockout artist as a middleweight and light middleweight. And this guy, when he knocks you, he hit you one shot and he'd touch you sleep. When he hit you one shot, bam, he'll knock you out of a shot and leave you out cold. You know, a violent puncher. The only violent puncher apart from me, and then Mike Tyson, you had Julian Jackson, Mike Tyson, those two guys there. You know, I remember a story once told that Ray Leonard was offered to fight Julian Jackson, and Ray Leonard turned the fight down straight up because of the phenomenal punching power of Julian Jackson, that hard a puncher. So when people talk about punching power middleweight, I can't get past Julian Jackson in terms of punching power and what he did as a middleweight. So yeah, Golovkin, big puncher, but not at middleweight. I always ask the question, well, who exactly have you knocked out? I mean, you didn't even knock out a welterweight moving up to middleweight in Kell Brook. That's why I bring the Kell Brook up. Now, this is, again, not a knock on gennady Golovkin. It's just the way I viewed it. And I did an interview with Abel Sanchez. He talked about the various guys he'd fight and who would have beaten, whether he would have beaten Carl Froch, Andre Ward, Nigel Benn, Marvin Hagler. We went through all the great fighters of the modern era and classic fights. One evening, we went through the whole list of fighters. how Golovkin would do against him. I'm going to try and pull that video out because it was really insight in Gennady Golovkin. And then Abel Sanchez and Golovkin departed ways when Golovkin got that big deal with the zone. And yeah, in come Jonathan Banks. And obviously Banks has tried to get Golovkin to be a bit more looser, you know, a bit more of the American style, getting more looser, more upper body movement, you know, as opposed to kind of like how it was before with Abel Sanchez. You know, one thing I always respected Abel Sanchez is, you know, when he used to do bag work, you know, he's punching power. He'd get Golovkin to one shot, bam, and then shot, bam, bam, and he'd be on the pads. And he'd always be like precise shots, 1, 2, bam, bam. And then uppercuts, boom, and then boom. You hear the thudding shots. It was none of this aerobic stuff. When everyone else was doing all that aerobic stuff, Golovkin and Sanchez were still bang, bang with shots on the pads, bang, bang. You'd see Golovkin really setting his feet and really letting his shots go. You know, even when he was doing the workout, you see him do it. Bang with a big sort of, I don't want to call it, it's not a medicine ball. It's just that round, that circle thing that it hit. Bang, bang. You see him throwing correct shots all the time, Golovkin. And that's always something I always respected him for. And my good friend Carson Jones used to be in camp with Golovkin, and he would tell me the stories of Golovkin and what Golovkin would do. And, you know, lots of stories. And when Carson Jones came to the UK to fight Cheeseman, I'd hear different stories about, you know, Golovkin. So I'd ask Abel Sanchez, and then I would go and ask Carson Jones, and they would verify from what Abel Sanchez was saying. Even a time where George Groves was sparring against Golovkin, and Golovkin hit him with a shot to the body and broke his rib. There's a story right there. There's a story right there. So let's see who's in the house. I'm not going to go into any predictions yet. I just want to still give my thoughts, and then I'll go into your comments afterwards. As always, thank you to the people in the room. As always, much appreciation to you and love you. I don't want to lose track because I tend to. So, you know, and I, again, have never been, I've appreciated Canelo, and I've appreciated what Canelo's done in boxing, right? But I can't turn and say, I'm a Canelo fan, because I'm not a Canelo fan. I'm a fan of boxing, but I can't say I'm a Canelo fan. And there's a number of things about Canelo that I have to say the word has pissed me off. Like, for example, when Canelo was with the whole beef situation or whatever it was, he got caught with performance-enhancing drugs or whatever he got caught with that in that meat, right? Testosterone, whatever it was in the meat, right? And he said some crap about the meat was something in Mexican meat he ate and all this rubbish, right? And he got suspended for 6 months. And then after the 6 months, he came back and he fought against Triple G in the second fight. Was it first? It was second fight, 1 or 2. I was pissed. I'll tell you why I was pissed. Because there were guys. There was Liam Cameron, good friend of the show. Liam Cameron. Well, they found cocaine in it. I believe he found some cocaine in his system. And he got banned 3 years. 3 years. Jerome Miller got caught. And he got banned. Povetkin got caught. Same time as Miller. But still was allowed to box on pay-per-view cards. So that's one of the things that's always peed me off about Canelo, because I feel that he's got privilege. He's had privilege in his career. Do you understand? It's not because it's not about him working for it and earning it. It's not one of them ones. For me, it's about if this guy is a drug cheat, right? If he's a drug cheat, then we've been lauding this guy, moving up and down in weights, doing all these great things. But if he is a drug cheat and he's been allowed to get away with this stuff, I'm sorry, but how can we be celebrating a guy that, we just turn a blind eye to, but that situation cannot turn a blind eye to, but other people, we're ready to, the double standards in boxing, because Canelo is making the money in boxing, and other people we talk about, it's not making me money in boxing, right? So that kind of double standard has always peeved me off about Canelo, right? And then the other things about Canelo, like when Canelo fought Floyd, he was too young when he fought Floyd. The guy was freaking, 32 or 34 years old when he fought Floyd? And he had X amount of world championship fights. And he was expected to beat Floyd in that fight. Yet when Floyd beats his ass around the ring, out of boxing, puts a masterclass on, he wasn't experienced then. But now he can beat Floyd now. I'm like, but you had the chance to beat Floyd, and you didn't beat him. You got a boxer that's against you. And then people say, Canelo's improved. Well, how can he improve if the guys he's been fighting is nowhere on the level of Floyd Mayweather? And the first guy he fought that technically was better than him, that had better boxing ability than him, and he actually met a guy that was not only bigger than him, but better than him, there were the excuses. But if, for example, other fighters come up with excuses, they're making excuses. But Canelo had an off night. I remember when people were telling us about Canelo going to fight Usyk. Remember that? You still want that fight now? When you were talking about, Canelo can move up and beat Usyk. I'm glad that Bivol beat Canelo, because if Bivol didn't beat Canelo, there's no way in hell we'd be seeing Canelo versus Golovkin. You can take that to the bank. So there's my thing. So this fight for me is, it's beef, and I hate Golovkin, and and I want to show him who's boss. You're talking all that brave stuff now. 4 years on. Okay, we had COVID, but there were opportunities Golovkin said to have fought Golovkin. Canelo could have taken. He didn't. They fought guys like Callum Smith and Rocky Fielding and Vildrim. He fought all those guys. Remember, he was coming back to fight. He fought in Mexico and gave the Mexicans a free fight, or just that fight he had against Vildrim. And they said, he's going to fight Vildrim. And people verified and said, that fight's okay. It's okay because it's Canelo. And it's the Canelo way and all that Canelo shit. So now he's taking on Golovkin, when people that will know that Golovkin is 40 years old. They that will know that he's not the Golovkin of old. And they're going, Canelo's going to go out there. He's going to stop Golovkin. Okay, so there's a few things that I want to add or put into the thing. First of all, Canelo's not unbeatable. He got beat by Bivol, and he's been beaten by Floyd already. So he has been beaten before the Bivol fight. He got beaten by Floyd. But this time, he was too big, Bivol. If Bivol was too big, are you suggesting now that Bivol is bigger than Usyk, who just finished beating Joshua for the second time? You see, I don't understand how people think sometimes. You can't get past Bivol, and you got outboxed by Bivol. How the hell are you going to beat Usyk? I don't get the logic of some people, and they're still talking about that fight till today. Anyway, ran over. So now Golovkin moves up to 168. First time in his career he's moved up to 168. Now, to me, Golovkin's last fight, he hadn't boxed for a long period of time, and I think he's dead at 160 pounds. I've said it for a while. I even felt he was dead at the weight when he was fighting Kell Brook. He looked like he was dead at the weight. Remember all those stories you used to hear about Golovkin looking sick and sick after fights and stuff? I think it's because he was trained at the weight. I really do believe that. And he was such a powerful guy. But that last fight against Murat, he looked like he really had to suck it up. And one of the ways you can tell a guy's weight, James, when you're going to the body. Going to the body. And another guy used to have that problem, Chris Eubank Sr. You look at fights with Chris Eubank Sr. where you'd work Eubank's body. He had a great chin, but if you go to Eubank's body, he hated it. He absolutely hated it. But as he moved up in weight, he became physically stronger. And I've always believed that Golovkin is stronger at 168 than at 160. I've always believed that. But I've had no proof to actually say, yeah. But looking at him on the scales, he looked solid, ripped, and ready to go. He looked like he'd been doing a lot of strength and conditioning, like to really put that mass on. He really looked like he's really gone to town on that strength. And he came in a few, is it ounces or pounds heavier than, is it pounds or ounces? Then I can't tell with than Canelo. So he looks like, he doesn't have to cut that weight. And as you're older, the worst thing you're going to be is cutting weight. So I think the weight's going to suit Golovkin. Jonathan Banks hasn't made a big thing of the weight. He hasn't made a big thing of the weight, but I think the weight matters. But there was something Abel Sanchez mentioned about Golovkin and the way he's trading. And he kind of insinuated ever since he's left Sanchez. I don't know if that's sour grapes, but Sanchez was kind of like insinuating that Golovkin's not training the same way as he used to train. He's not as dedicated. Now, I don't know who Golovkin's been sparring. I don't know how he's prepared for this fight. He looks very thoughtful. He looks like a real, you looked at moments, I've looked at Golovkin while Canelo's been the superstar and waving to the crowd and smiling. And there was one point where I saw him hugging his two kids and, how much it meant to him and this fight and stuff. I saw that. But the weigh-in, which was an interesting, if you've got so much hatred towards Golovkin, in the second fight, you were pushing your head up into Golovkin's face like you were like a bull. This fight, you're kind of looking him up and down, but there's no head-to-head like the last time. Didn't see any of that. And I don't know if Canelo, we don't know what his mindset would be like suffering a loss to Bivol, where he got more or less beat up by Bivol. He really did get beaten up by Bivol. And what that does, him coming back down from light heavy, back down to super middleweight, because he's been bouncing up and down on the weights. And I've noticed that Canelo fights in spurts. And if you look at Golovkin now, he fights in spurts too. Now, is Canelo at the peak of his powers? Because he's fought a lot of fights. Is he at the peak of his powers now? Or is he waning and is he just not going to get any better now? And if he's not going to get any better, then he's on the decline. Where is Canelo in his career now? He's been around a while. He's been fighting since he was, 18 years old? So he's had a long career. Talk about Lomachenko's career, but Canelo's had a long career as well. So those things, the weight factor, just things to consider, coming back down in weight, back to super middleweight. What is Canelo's best weight? Because at middleweight, he was never coming at middleweight. He was probably coming in at light heavy or cruiserweight when he fought Khan. Khan said he came in at something like 180 pounds. Crazy. I'd like to know how much he weighs tomorrow night. And they said they're going to do another weight for him as well. They'll do another weigh-in just before they go in the ring. So my thoughts on this fight. I actually want GGG to win the fight. I want Golovkin to win the fight. Like I said, looking at Golovkin, he looked like a seasoned veteran that knows what he has to do to win the fight. To me, Golovkin has never been good off the back foot. He's not effective, the same fighter. Golovkin's got to win this fight, he's got to keep forward. He's going to keep marching forward, and keep pressure on Canelo. And he's got to go to Canelo's body. He's got to go to Canelo's body and slow Canelo down in the later rounds so that Canelo cannot accelerate in the later rounds, which is where Canelo's dangerous. I also think for Canelo, he's got to go to Golovkin's body. He's got to do more work to Golovkin's body. Punching power. Can Golovkin stop Canelo at super middleweight? Let me see something. If Golovkin stops Canelo at super middleweight, it would be his best win, bar none, and his best knockout, bar none. Can he do it? No man has come close to stopping one or the other man. So Golovkin hasn't come close to stopping Canelo, and Canelo hasn't come close to stopping Golovkin. But there is an assumption, because Golovkin is older and he's slowed a bit, that Canelo's opportunity is there to beat Golovkin. But Canelo's come off a loss. He's coming back from light heavyweight down to super middleweight. It shouldn't matter, but will it? Is Canelo still dedicated? He said he's more dedicated now in this fight. Is it because he thinks that he's going to walk through Golovkin? And he wants to finish the fight inside the difference. What happens if Golovkin is still there, firing back and has fire in the tank, and wants to have a fight and wants to have a war and starts to land the shots the sort of way that Bivol was landing on Canelo, and he really wants to dig deep Golovkin? Has Canelo got it in him to go into another tough fight and be prepared to get beat up and come from behind to win a fight? Questions to be asked. As for Golovkin, and you look at his career, he hasn't had any career where he's been beat up. I mean, that Bivol fight, he did get, it's twice now in Canelo's career, he's either been beat up or outclassed. Clearly. He was outclassed, he was outboxed. Forget Bivol being bigger than him. He was outclassed. Bivol was a better boxer. He just put the jab in Canelo's face. A better boxer, better mover, better footwork, better defense, put his punches together better. Bivol was just a better class fighter, just like Mayweather. There's two guys that have beaten Canelo convincingly. No doubt, no way the judges could they've beat him convincingly. So that's the way that Golovkin's got to beat Canelo. Yes, the favorite is Canelo. I understand that. I get it. But I'm going with Triple G on this one. Again, I'm not a massive Triple G fan, but I'm going with Triple G on this fight. So, and I've given my reasons why. So let me talk to people in the room. Shook One, good evening, and a valued member of BWTM Sports. Good evening. Canelo and GGG is set to be an amazing fight. I don't see it going the distance with the weakness to the body of GGG and Canelo feeling the need to be reckless. Can't tell. Interesting. GGG claimed it was too much to come up to fight to 168 to get. Okay. Claimed it was too much to come up to 168 to get after Andre Ward, but was perfectly disposed to come to 154 to get the Floyd Money Mayweather fight. Yes. Talked about that to Abel Sanchez before. The Julian Jackson McClellan fights were a thing of beauty. They were two genuine punches. I remember as a child, the midweek sports special and the Harold Graham KO by JJ was wow. Yeah, I spoke to Harold Graham, did an interview with Harold Graham and Julian Jackson about it. I said to Julian Jackson, thank you. I bust open my tongue when that fight happens, blood pouring out because of the knockout, or so it was a frightening knockout. And I told Harold Graham the same thing as well. Gonna go through his comments. What Sal thinks between the two of them was when Sanchez said he did think Canelo won the second fight and a rebuild was required. This was right after the fight in the locker room. Oh boy. They split immediately after. Well, can't be saying stuff like that. Oops, Ingram, where's my man? It's evening, Ingram. Good evening, boss. Adam says, can't wait for the fight. Neither a Canelo or GGG fan. I'm an Eddie Hearn fan. LOL. Eddie Hearn fan. Snazzy Azzy, good evening, bro. How are we doing? Joe, good evening. How you doing? It has been a while, my brother. It has been a while. We all had Vildrim was the mandatory shoved down our throats. Yeah, that's it. Stuff like that I hated. And he's already been beaten by GGG. Okay. He's been fighting 16 years of age. The makeup for lack of heavy amateur pedigree. He's had a huge amount of fights. Canelo's learning on the job. GGG needs to come forward and cut the ring off side to side. That's his style, and it's too late in the game to change that. Can't allow Canelo to back him up or force the backward step. Agreed. Ingram, not sure if you're a betting man, but 4-1 on GGG wins surely some decent value there. Well, I don't know if I bet on GGG. That's not a fight I've gone bet on. However, I'm backing GGG for this one. Even though I admit Canelo is the favorite, I'm going to go with the underdog for this one. Just because I've got more care for GGG than Canelo. Hope GGG gets his flowers finally, but I've got to go with Canelo. That man's been so active. That's been the key, activity. Sadly, got Canelo winning this, but as a big GGG fan, I hope he pulls it off. Well, I hope he pulls it off as well. I really do. I hope he proves you wrong and he can knock Canelo out to say, there you go, Ingram. I've just knocked out a world-class opponent. Ingram, do you reckon Golovkin has been crushing it in the gym? He's been smashing it in the gym, mate. He's been smashing it in the gym. He's been smashing it. And then he went over to the dad and he punched him a few more times. Yeah, and then after that, he had 4 guys knocking at the door. Lennox, what do you think about the fight? I think it's a great fight, because, it's a trilogy. I fought Evander Holyfield twice. I boxed Hassan Rahman twice. I would love to fight Holyfield a 3rd time. So, but, and then I punched him 5 more times. When I look at these 2 guys, Lennox, what's your prediction in the fight? These 2 guys, the 2, wow, great fighters, I know, they're both going to come forward and, they're both going to throw big bombs. Lennox, who's going to win the fight? It's a pick-up, you got the younger man in Canelo and, you got Golovkin, the Grandmaster. So, it's a great fight. And, may the best man win. Lennox, who wins the fight? Golovkin's got a punch his chance. Canelo's got a punch his chance too. So, they're both big punch. Lennox, who's going to win the fight? It's a great fight. I can't split them. It's that close. You could say, 1-1 fight, 1-1 the other fight. So we got a trilogy. So we're gonna see. You gotta laugh at him. You gotta laugh. Or you cry. Can't decide which of them is a pugilist specialist. Lennox Lewis 2022. Oh, dear me. All the momentum is Canelo's way. Even though he just got beat up by Bivol. I would like to see what happens if Golovkin can drop Canelo. If he can hurt Canelo, what happens at 168 pounds? If he punches harder at 168 pounds, he's able to hurt Canelo. It'd be interesting. But I think it's still gonna be. A great fight. But I don't know. I think my gut feels this fight will end within 8 to 10 rounds. I don't think it goes 12 rounds. And I also think that game plans will go out the window. That's what I think. You're going to do a post-match straight after. Let me think. Sunday. Probably, yeah. Probably now. I will do. So, yeah, I probably will do. I'll probably do a post-fight. So, yeah, absolutely. Any thoughts? Can you all give me your predictions before we finish the show? Throw your predictions in now. So, I'm going with GGG. I'm just gonna be what they call a fantasist, and I'm just I'm gonna be a fantasist and say that GGG sensationally stops stops Canelo inside the distance. That's what I'm going to say. But, you know, it would be so sad if we see Father Time all over GGG and he gets took out there. It would be. It would. Late stoppage Canelo. Yeah, I can see that. Stoppage, sadly. Hart says GGG points. Now, there are people who predicted that Evander Holyfield was going to get absolutely smashed to bits after he fought Bobby Ches. Go and watch Evander. If you want to do something for fun, go and watch Bobby Ches versus Evander Holyfield. And look how old and how terrible Evander looked. And then he fought Mike Tyson. I put money on Evander to beat Mike, stop Mike. And he stopped Mike that night. Classic. So, Canelo by late stoppage. But it will be from the early investment to the body attack from early on. Perhaps TKO by 11 rounds. Okay. Everyone's going with a Canelo stoppage. I'm gonna go with Golovkin. Yeah, I know that everyone believes Canelo's gonna stop him and he's old Father Time and all stuff. But I think there's one great fight left in Golovkin. I believe so. One great fight left in him. Because I saw in that last fight he had against Murata, as the fight was going on, Golovkin was actually getting better, and the punch he landed to stop Murata, scrambled Murata's brains, and he was at one point he was beating Murata real badly. The punch he stopped him with though, there was one punch he threw, it was scramble Murata's brain. That was impressive. I've got to go with controversial Canelo stoppage. The ref jumps in early. Yeah, possibly. I could see that as well. But, could you imagine if Canelo suffers back-to-back losses? Better still, can you imagine if Golovkin knocks Canelo out? Eddie's face would be a picture. And imagine Golovkin, you know what? Golovkin winning all the belts, becomes undisputed, and then leaves. The zone, dead zone, as undisputed and leaves the zone. Could you imagine? And then they have to have Golovkin versus Canelo 4. And then Eubank comes into the ring eating KFC and calls out Golovkin 157. Now, what would be better? I think it would be better still. It would be better is if Canelo's been knocked out by Golovkin, you see Eubank suddenly walking across the screen, eating a bucket of chicken, smiling, a bucket of chicken and walking across the screen. And it says, coming soon. And they're walking across the screen. You know, like in cricket, when somebody gets out of a duck, you used to have the duck that used to walk across the screen. Whack, 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 whack. Well, they should have a Eubank Jr. walking across the screen with a bucket of chicken, eating a bucket of chicken, walking across the screen. And then you turn to the commercial. What does he say again? He goes, yeah, and then I went back for the father. I went back and punched the father a few more times. Sponsored by Everlast. What is this world coming to? What is this world coming to, people? If GG starts Kilo in the seconds of the fight, that would be a legendary move over Pac-Man and Marcus 4. Yeah, I'd love that. I would love it. Love it. And then Golovkin takes the belts and does a cinematic Punk and goes home through the crowd. That would be amazing. Oh, man. Absolutely amazing. GG fantasy scenario after KO and Canelo. Hey, guys, I'm real Mexican style. I told you I will fight anybody. I like what Golovkin said. He went, you know who real champion is. Hey, they didn't like that. They did not like that. They didn't like that. And, you know, it says, stop talking about Eddie Hearn, he said to the reporters. You know, and that's another reason why I want Golovkin to win. I want Golovkin to win because I want him to snatch them belts, and I want him to leave the zone with the undisputed belt. Brilliant. I'd love that. I'd love it. Love it. Love it. We should have Kevin Keegan as well going, love it. Love it. But yeah, I do. Call me a hater. Yeah, do call me a hater because, you know, I want Golovkin to win, but I want him to win so much. Oh, man, you don't know. You don't know how much I want Golovkin to win. After Gigi said that the just came first 4 rounds already. Oh, dear me. Big up Ingram. Yes, John Smith. Big up to you, my brother. How are you? Yeah, I think so. We all know the Canelo scorecard. Jim Watt. Oh, got him 12 rounds off for my scorecard. You know, like I always used to say, Jim Watt was the guy. Jim Watt was the guy that if your guy was getting beat, you knew your guy was getting beat when Jim Watt would say, it's reckless boxing from Ben. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. I used to remember that. I used to have money betting on fighters. And every time you went, it's gone, Reg. It's gone. It's gone, Reg. His legs are gone, Reg. Once he said that, you knew your fight was done. I'd love to have Jim Watt commentating on this fight. I really would. Have you heard Barry Hearn's? Have you had Barry Hearn's photo on your wall growing up, Ingram? Well, I met Barry. Actually, a funny story. I met Barry years ago when I was boxing. And he said to me, I was at Liverpool Street train station. Must have been still living in Brighton, boxing. And I walked past Barry. He said to me, all right, mate, it's all right. He went, I said, you looking for any boxers? He went, yeah, mate, get a good record and come back to me. And that was it. That was the conversation we had. The fight everybody wants to see is me and Ingram Jones. How about now? I have belts, Ingram. You come get GGG. That would be a real Rocky moment. You comedian, you are. The head says Canelo wins by stoppage, but I've sneaky feeling GG stops a tied gas Canelo in championship rounds. Sounds crazy, you know. I'm going with GGG by stoppage. Oh, dear me. Tony Bellew on his own broadcast will have Canelo up 11 rounds to 0 after being knocked down twice in round 2. You know how it goes. Yeah, GG looks solid 168, ready for what I'm saying. He looks better at 168 than he does at 160. He looks better. What I would have done if I were advising Canelo to fight Golovkin, I would have kept if it were me, I would have kept Canelo kept Golovkin at 160. I'd have kept it at 160. I would have kept it 160 because he's not making 160 anymore. Brilliant, Golovkin, brilliant. Yeah. Double jab and throw a right hook to southpaw. That's great stuff. Canelo fluctuating weights and he has more mileage potential than GG means he could fall apart like Roy Jones. I've said it. I did allude to it earlier, but he could. Right. I think I've said enough here. Please do smash the like button. I can't say enough. Uncle Bashir. Speaking of Uncle Bashir, I did send a message to Uncle Bashir, but I haven't heard from him. I did try and get, but I think he's going with Canelo for this one. I was trying to get somebody to talk to tonight about weight gain and whether being at extra higher poundage you hit any better. But I've known some guys who've moved up in weight and the actual 4 or 5 pounds has been advantageous to them. So we'll see. Maybe Golovkin's a better 168 than he is 160. But then he's getting hit harder at 168. He may be stronger at 168. I don't know. I'm hoping he is. I'm hoping he hits significantly hard at 168, hard enough to hurt Canelo and put serious damage in him. Amazing that both fighters have never been knocked down in their careers. Yeah. You remember we used to hear that Joseph Parker had never been stopped, never been dropped. Then he fought Dillian Whyte. And he got dropped twice in one fight. So, it happens. Serrano looked far more dangerous against Taylor coming of weight when they fought. That's what I'm saying. I don't think the fight goes the distance. Well, I'm going with Golovkin. I'm going with Golovkin in this one. I'm going with Golovkin by knockout. This isn't but please do not look at this. I'm telling you straight. This is not this is a biased breakdown. I'm telling you straight, a biased breakdown, and I'm not a Golovkin fan. And I have no dog in the race, as they say. But for this fight, I'm passionate towards Golovkin for the reasons I've mentioned. Parker's a chin and a half, to be honest. We'll soon see how much chin he's got when he fights Joyce. That's the real test. Looking forward to Sugar Ray Joyce versus Parker. I went back and watched. I want you, when you get a chance, go back and watch Joe Joyce against Fraser Clark. Absolute war. And look at the punches that Joe Joyce walked through to stop Fraser Clark. My gosh. I hope that Parker's prepared to walk through that to beat Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce, the Shakespeare Usain Bolt of boxing. Right, let me get out of there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it, as always. Appreciate the love. Do consider subscribing, liking, sharing the video. It goes, that should be a new series, bias breakdown. Just when you break down fights where you have inside knowledge and go for the seemingly outsider. Yeah, and we'll start doing that from now on. Guys, to hell with it. Why not do biased breakdowns from now on? Be freaking biased. I mean, the commentators are biased. The promoters are biased. The sanctioning bodies are biased. Flipping, and I'm always being straight. Flip it. Be biased. Let me see if Bashir's around. He's not. All right. Thank you so much. This has been BWTM Sports. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, smash the like button before you leave, please. I really appreciate you all. Thanks for watching. Take care.